Good evening, this is BrassTacks. I'm Zaka Jacob. The Enforcement Directorate has arrested Delhi's former Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia in the Liquorgate scandal. He was currently in judicial custody and his bail plea comes up tomorrow. The Aam Aadmi Party is alleging that today's arrest has been made just to ensure that Manish Sisodia continues to be in custody. Parallelly, BRS leader K Kavitha has been summoned by the Enforcement Directorate on Saturday for questioning in the same case for what the CBI and the ED allege is the Southern cartel's link to the Liquorgate scandal that happened in Delhi. Now, interestingly, all opposition parties except the Congress are backing her in this case. But first, before we get into our debate, let's bring you the story of how this investigation is now going full steam ahead. One part focused on the Aam Aadmi Party and its leaders here in Delhi, and the other part focused on the Southern cartel, quote-unquote.
We will completely side with them, support with them, because we understand the obligations of the government and the agencies. We will 100% support them.
They are using ED as a tool to harass other opposition parties.
तेलंगाना में केसीआर पार्टी का केसीआर सरकार के खिलाफ आम जनता आज आवाज उठा रहे.
It's double trouble for former Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. He's been arrested by the Enforcement Directorate now in the Delhi liquor scam case. Just a day before his bail hearing comes up in the CBI court, the ED arrested Sisodia after 2 rounds of questioning in which the agency claims to have found evidence of money laundering. The ED arrest now complicates matters for Sisodia. He will be produced in a court by the ED tomorrow. The same day, his bail hearing is likely to come up in a CBI court. AAP convener Arvind Kejriwal says that the ED action is timed at keeping Sisodia in jail at all costs. So let's take a look at the timeline of events involving Manish Sisodia. He was arrested on the 26th of February. This is after 8 hours of questioning by the CBI. The next day, he was sent to CBI custody for 5 days. That custody was later extended till the 6th of March. And then when he was presented on the 6th of March, he was remanded to judicial custody and shifted to Tihar jail, where he will be kept till the 20th of March. The Enforcement Directorate today records, the Enforcement Directorate recorded Sisodia's statement in jail on the 7th of March. Today was the second round of questioning that was followed by his arrest by the Enforcement Directorate. And tomorrow, his bail plea is expected to come up in a CBI court. Now, it's not just Sisodia. Another prominent opposition leader who's in the dock over the Delhi liquor policy is BRS MLC and Telangana Chief Minister's daughter, K Kavitha. She will be questioned by the Enforcement Directorate on Saturday. The agency claims that Kavitha is part of the Southern cartel that benefited from kickbacks in the liquor policy change. Kavitha will be holding a dharna at Delhi's Jantar Mantar tomorrow for the Women's Reservation Bill. She has denied the ED's allegations and accused the centre of misusing agencies for political gain. So, does the ED charge sheet say about Kavitha? It identifies her as a key member of the so-called Southern Group or the Southern Cartel, which paid at least 100 crores in kickbacks. Now, the ED is alleging that these kickbacks were for wholesale distribution licenses for Indo Spirits. Indo Spirits received 185% as wholesale profits. Some of these profits were devised to extract kickbacks to the Aam Aadmi Party. According to the Enforcement Directorate, Kavitha changed the IMEI number of her phone 6 times. Kavitha, of course, has denied all of these allegations.
BJP runs an entire ecosystem of spreading lies. I can tell you with examples, I can show you proofs where if CBI had come to my house, the very next day, 4,000-5,000 fake accounts of Bharatiya Janata Party ecosystem start spreading lies about me. I am not the target here. Target is our leader KCR Garu, because I am not the only one person being targeted in TRS party. 15 to 16 other people, MLAs, MLCs, ministers have been targeted. This Bharatiya Janata Party, they spin their own tails and then they look for characters. And then they try to fix people like me, Mr. Sisodia. And let me tell you honestly, till date, I have never met Mr. Sisodia or not spoken with him.
All right, full panel joining us on the debate tonight here on BrassTacks. Here in our studios, Shehzad Poonawala, BJP National Spokesperson. Krishank Mane will be joining us, BRS Spokesperson. Advocate Mahima Singh, of the Congress is on the broadcast this evening. Reena Gupta, Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson, and Nishkaran Singh Bhandari, lawyer, also on the broadcast. Shehzad, let me start with you first. Kejriwal has tweeted about this, and this is what the Aam Aadmi Party is alleging, that Mr. Sisodia's his bail plea was coming up tomorrow. The fact that the ED has arrested him today, despite two charge sheets, one main one supplementary one, not naming Sisodia, is simply to keep him in custody. How do you respond?
I read that tweet, and that tweet he has said in Hindi, Kal Manish ji chhoot jate. How does the Chief Minister know what the court is going to do tomorrow? I take strong objection to this imputation made towards the court, and I demand to know from the spokesperson of the AAP when she speaks how the Chief Minister has a guarantee that tomorrow Mr. Sisodia would go out on bail. Now let me come on the other aspects. They made the entire same victimhood card for Satyendra Jain when ED action started on him. Here are 3 court orders which are from the High Court and one from the Trial Court and another one from the High Court, where Mr. Satyendra Jain has been called as a Kattar Beiman Hawalebaz. But despite that court order, you have this Aam Aadmi Party saying he's a Kattar Imandar. And this is the party, mind you, which used to say Congress party leaders are corrupt without even a shred of documentation being provided. But today when there's court orders, they do a U-turn. Now let's come to the fact that they say it's vendetta politics. If this was vindictive and vendetta politics, why in the last so many months, 9 months, Satyendra Jain, no relief, 6 months, Vijay Nair, no relief. From August 17, 2022, the FIR has been filed, no quashing of the FIR has taken place. So how can they say that the court, if it gives an order on ABC case, it is fine, but in our case, when it gives an order and keeps us in jail, it is not fine.
Shehzad,
and third, fourthly,
the question that's being asked is, ED has filed 2 charge sheets, one main charge sheet, one supplementary charge sheet. Mr. Sisodia's name does not figure in either of those charge sheets. What was the pressing need to arrest him today, other than what is being alleged by the AAP, that his custody was coming, his bail plea was coming up tomorrow?
This question only the ED can answer, and only a lawyer as accomplished as Nishkaran Bhandari can tell you from the legal processes. But let me answer this particular question. If today all of this has been done purely on vendetta politics, there's nothing, not a shred of evidence, junjuna bhi nahi hai Manish ji ke bistare ke niche, then I would say that tomorrow Miss Reena Gupta ji should make these arguments in court and secure bail for him. But if they can't secure bail and the court then says that look, you deserve to go to jail, they made the same argument on Satyendra Jain. Let me just show one case and then you can move on to her. Prima facie ED charge sheet against Satyendra Jain should be taken cognizance of and trial should be done because there's sufficient evidence against him, says the lower Delhi court.
Okay.
Now, these were the
so
same
Reena
arguments.
Gupta
It's become boring now.
Mr. Jain has been in jail for 9 months. He has approached even the Supreme Court for bail, but judges across these 3 courts, which is the Trial Court, the High Court and then the Supreme Court, have found merit to keep him in judicial custody. Seems the case with Mr. Vijay Nair. It's been 6 months since he's been put under arrest. No court has found merit enough to give him bail. So then why should any such courtesy be extended to Mr. Manish Sisodia? It's the prerogative of the ED to arrest someone if they find that someone not cooperating with the investigation, which after 2 rounds of questioning today, they discover he's not cooperating with the investigation. Therefore, they decided to arrest him.
Zaka, first of all, there has been no scam. Just because the Bharatiya Janata Party spokespersons keep coming on TV channels and keep saying there's a scam, that does not prove there's a scam. That's point number 1. And as you rightly said, in the charge sheet, in the supplementary charge sheet, Manish Sisodia's name is not been there. There was raid in his house, in his locker, in his village, nothing was found. Now contrast that to the Bharatiya Janata Party MLA in Karnataka, where 4 crores of cash was found. No ED raid, no CBI raid. And this is just one example. Look at what happened with Mr. Conrad Sangma. Amit Shah ji very loudly was saying, बहुत भ्रष्ट लोग हैं, बहुत corrupt लोग हैं. अब चुनाव के बाद भ्रष्ट corrupt सब खत्म हो गए. The more corrupt you are in Bharatiya Janata Party, the higher your stature becomes.
Okay.
So whether it's Hemanta Vishwa Sharma, a chief minister, Yadurappa, again accused in the mining scam, another chief minister, Mukul Roy, Suvendu Adhikari, Nishank Pokhriyal, all of these people, all chief ministers of Bharatiya Janata Party, all of them have charges against them, charges with proofs. Cash has been
No, but
found
Reena,
in
these
most of their
are
houses.
political points. I want you to answer the specific question. If the charges against Mr. Satyendra Jain were light, how come he hasn't got bail from any court, including the Supreme Court, after 9 months in judicial custody? Similarly, in the case of Mr. Sisodia, it is up to the investigating agency. And mind you, in PMLA, the onus, as you are well aware, the onus is on the accused to show that there were no proceeds of crime, that money was not routed through Hawala. the onus is not, unlike other provisions of the CRPC, the onus is not on the investigating agency, the onus is on the accused, in this case, Mr. Sisodia.
Both of these leaders will be released because there is no crime, but the process becomes the punishment. In case of Mr. Satyen Jain, just when the judge in the High Court was about to give bail, the central government filed an affidavit saying that we don't trust the judge, we want the judge to be changed. So, of course, they will both get bail, and they will get bail from the Supreme Court. But again, it's going to take time because the Supreme Court has said very clearly that you have to go through the law courts, you have to follow the proper procedure before you come to us.
So let me open this up. Let me go to Ishkaran to understand from a lawyer's point of view. Ishkaran, can I one second, Reena, there are others also. Let me involve everyone in the debate tonight, please. Ishkaran, I have two simple questions. Number one, can you explain to us in layman terms how, after I think 4-5 months of questioning, multiple rounds, two charge sheets, one main, one supplementary, his name not figuring there. Today, the ED has decided to arrest Mr. Sisodia. The AAP is saying it is solely to ensure that he's kept in custody because he would have otherwise got bail tomorrow from the CBI court. That's number one. And number two, the question that Reena Gupta was also saying, that ultimately bail, it's the prerogative of the judge. The judge has to be convinced that this person is not a flight risk or cannot tamper with evidence. In Mr. Jain's case, she is saying that the judge was changed at the last minute because he was going to get bail.
Zaka, before I come to that, as a lawyer, I will be remiss if I do not point this out on national television. While political speech is very good, but to say the High Court judge was about to give bail, how can you predict what he was about to do? Yeah. Or that tomorrow you would have gotten bail, whether you get bail or do not get bail. Let's not predict what the judge is going to do, because that casts a lot of questions which should not be raised in a democracy. And that's a very unfortunate statement to be making on national television of all the places. Now let us come into the case. There are two ways the investigative agencies operate, and usually CBI and ED do lengthy investigations before they arrest people. It is not like you've caught somebody red-handed like local police very often does. In these, there is a lot of documentation. There are very often shell companies involved. In this case, there is an approver called Mr. Dinesh Arora. So those proceedings take their time, and very often the investigative agencies invest after a few months, and they always have the power to add sections, to file supplementary charge sheet, etc., 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 which is the norm. So it is not something which is extraordinary or out of ordinary. Okay. That is not going on to the merits of the case, whether they will get relief in the court or not. I'm just talking here on the procedural aspects of it. But what is very material in this case are two things. One, there are allegations that phones have been destroyed worth a lot of money. There are allegations that there are policies missing. There are allegations that there is a 100 crore money trail. All these are documentary things. Either phones were purchased, which the investigative agency will have to prove, and they were destroyed, and how many were destroyed. 100 crore will not disappear in the air. That will also have to be proved in the trial, and also it will have to be proved where are the original policies, what are the notes. So all this is documentary. So sooner or later the truth will come out, and the onus is obviously on the investigative agency as the pressure to prove it.
So Krishank Mane, let me come to the second aspect, in which is the ED summons against your leader, K Kavitha, who's been asked to come to the ED office on Saturday. Now, again, because this is PMLA and the provisions are different, the onus is different, the onus is on the accused, all she needs to do is to explain her connection with two gentlemen who are under arrest in this case, Abhishek Boinpalli, who I believe was a former official in her team, and another gentleman by name Arjun Pillai, who was a business associate who was also arrested last week by the Enforcement Directorate. All she needs to do is to clarify what the nature of the business relationship / political relationship was between her and these two gentlemen, because these two gentlemen have been arrested by the ED under suspicion of being conduits for the Southern Cartel in this Liquorgate scam.
Which he is ready for, Zaka. Last December, when CPI arrived to Hyderabad, to Telangana, where our government is there, we have welcomed them. None of our party cadre disrupted, created any disturbance. They came, they asked their questions, they left back. And now, when Kavitha ji has given a call for a protest a couple of days ago on 10th, for which 18 opposition leaders are participating, suddenly we get a notice from ED, which we are ready to go for, and we will definitely answer the questions about the links which the ED has mentioned, that we have no kind of business links with whosoever they've named. And we would like to remind that just on the basis of approver's statement, Section 306 of CRPC says that just approver's statement is not a reliable evidence. And if they're claiming that those 10 phones have been damaged as per the charge sheet. Kavitha ji has already mentioned in many of her interviews that she is ready to produce those 10 mobile phones because they have not been damaged. So what we feel that this is cherry picking. Why we claim that this is political vendetta? Because there are many instances. One such, our leader KTR ji has kept a press conference also, is this tweet of Enforcement Directorate of BJP leader Y. Sujana Chaudhary. ED has tweeted, Zaka, that 6,000 crore scam from 120 shell companies have been identified. Why no single arrest of Sujana Chaudhary or the recent BJP MLA or Ishwarappa, who was compelled to resign after Contractors Association wrote to Honorable President? Our only question is, one name of any BJP leader who was arrested on graft charges across India. Is BJP so clean? Leave about Adani or Himanta Biswa Sharma or Narayan Rane, Mukul Roy. Please tell one name of one BJP leader who was,
Okay, I think I'll go to Mahima Singh and then
charges.
come to Shehzad after that for the question that Krishank asked. But Mahima Singh, again, what I find very curious is when Manish Sisodia was arrested, almost all opposition parties came out and condemned the actions, that this was vendetta, so on and so forth, except the Congress party. Tomorrow, Kavitha is leading this protest in Jantar Mantar. Again, all opposition parties are going there except the Congress party. And then, on the other hand, Congress party says opposition unity, we have to take on the Modi government unitedly and so on. Where is opposition unity? Clearly, you are drawing a distinction between yourself and your allies, DMK, RJD, NCP, etc., and some of these other opposition parties like AAP, TRS, etc.
Good evening, Zaka. Good evening, all. I would say that, the Indian Express had conducted a study, an investigation into the cases being filed upon the leaders from the opposition. And those cases during UPA's rule were at a 60% out of the total number of cases filed upon the opposition leaders, while today it is at a 95%. And this is Indian Express's data. This is not my data that I'm quoting here. So that data speaks for itself. And in addition to that, I would say that now there is a narrative. Now that we are living in a day and age when, even the Supreme Court is questioning, when they form a committee for the Election Commission, they are questioning how the central agencies are functioning in this country. Now you ask me about the Aam Aadmi Party and why don't we stand with them? I would say that they are victims of their own cowardly silence. They have stayed silent when our president, honorable president of the party, Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, was summoned by the ED in the middle of a Lok Sabha session. And I think that in itself speaks for why are they facing the brunt of silence of the others. Today I'm reminded of Martin Niemöller's ever so relevant words that when they came for me, there was nobody. Because when you stand silent while your neighbor's house is being burnt down, you are bound to...
No, ma'am, so you are basically saying they didn't support you and when your president was called for questioning, therefore you will not support them when their folks are being called. No, net, that's what you're saying.
It's not that. There are two things. See, if you look at my answer, there are two things. The first part is that there is this whole narrative of vendetta politics attributed to the statistics today, which is 95% of
No, you made that point. Okay.
And the second part is that when you stay silent when your neighbor's house is being burnt down, you should be prepared for the fire to approach your own house.
So let Shehzad now respond to both those questions. One that Krishank Mane asked, name one BJP leader who's been arrested by CBI or ED for corruption. And number two, we had those incredible scenes. I wish our producers can play those incredible scenes of Mr. Virupakshappa. From his son's office, in his office, 8 crores were recovered. His son was caught on camera taking bribes, and he is received in his village like some hero.
So let me address this part just in a moment, but first I have never seen a more shameless attempt for collusion and corruption being made by a national party saying कि मेरे भ्रष्टाचार पे आप चुप रहे इसलिए मैं आपके भ्रष्टाचार पे अब चुप रहूंगा. And this is not a case of being silent. Now Mahima ji, please let me complete. I heard you out patiently. Mr. Ajay Makan and Anil Chaudhary have come out and welcomed the action. It's not being silent by the Congress. They have said this is right action. But the question is that how is action on them chamatkar and action on you gunegar? This double standard on corruption should not be tolerated. Now let me one by one address all the questions. Let's start with your Virupakshappa. Look at the difference between BJP and Aam Aadmi Party. Our Lok Ayukta is so strong that it can go and arrest the MLA's son. We even took action. The MLA had to go to the Lok Ayukta today. He got bail from the High Court, which we are, we wish that the High Court would have not given him that relief. And we are absolutely having zero tolerance on him. But here, you have 3 court orders against Satyendra Jain. You have court orders against Vijay Nair. They say Kattar Imandar. Has any BJP leader said that this man is Kattar Imandar? No, we have sidelined him and we have taken action
look at those
on
pictures.
It is abominable.
These are people in his constituency throwing flowers
and
at
I
him
hope that,
as though he's some hero.
I would request the High Court judges to watch this program of yours tonight. I would request them. Now and I would also request the High Court and Supreme Court judges to watch when Aam Aadmi Party, who are being called Hawalebaz, are coming out and saying and challenging, no, the court was about to give us bail. And I'm so disturbed by one statement, Zaka, very important statement, please, because Ishkaran is also sitting here. The representative of Aam Aadmi Party has said, and I'm quoting her word by word, Centre gave an affidavit to the court that they do not trust the judge and the judge was changed. Does transfer of judges work like this? And I would want the Aam Aadmi Party representative to take my entire time and show me the affidavit of the central government in that respect.
Okay.
By the way, the High Court has come out with a judgment in 2019 saying that the Satyendra Jain is a Hawalebaz, and in 2022 calling him Kattar corrupt. Now, last 2 points.
Okay,
by the way,
you asked her a question, so let her respond.
No, let her respond. But
you are
just
saying
one last point.
One second. Reena Gupta, both Ishkaran and Shehzad have made that point. How can you even allege that the judge was changed on the eve of your leader getting bail? And if you have proof to show for, then please put it out. Please put it out on the public domain.
I would like to see that affidavit.
Reena, yeah.
It's public information, Zaka, that the centre put in an affidavit for transferring the case when the judge was about to give a verdict. Why would you want the case to be transferred from a judge that has been hearing the case for so many months? Because you were scared that the judgment is going to be against you. That's point number 1. Point number 2.
How do you know what judgment was coming? Please show the affidavit, ma'am. I'm sure you have the affidavit. Please show it. I have to interrupt you here. Sorry to do that. Not on Zaka's show, but I would request you. I'm the spokesperson of the central government. Please show me that affidavit of my government. Please show it to me.
Can I please complete?
Show the affidavit. I'm showing you court orders. You show me the affidavit.
Okay, one second. Let her finish. Yeah, Reena, go ahead.
Yesterday, 2 members of parliament on camera have said that we are not scared of ED anymore because we've joined Bharatiya Janata Party. What better proof than that for people of this country to see that all the corrupt leaders
show the
are
affidavit.
being
This
forced
is
to
Zaka
join
show. You can't
Bharatiya Janata
obfuscate
Party.
and filibuster.
Mr.
Show the
Manish
affidavit.
Sisodia and Mr. Satyendra Jain were being forced to join Bharatiya Janata Party.
You said there's a central government affidavit that we wanted a judge transfer. Show the affidavit.
Only corrupt leaders like Hemanta Vishwa Sharma, Narayan Rane, Suvendu Adhikari, Mukul Roy, Yadurappa, all of these people are corrupt and they are the ones who joined Bharatiya Janata Party because they were scared of ED action against them. We are not scared, yaar. Send
show
ED,
the
send
affidavit.
CBI, send everybody.
All right.
Can I ask
one second. Let Ishkaran also come in on this.
Demand to know this is
fair
not
enough. I mean, you've asked her. She's not shown it. Let the viewers decide. But Ishkaran, I'm coming back to that point again. I think Mahima Singh also raised this. It's a political point, quasi-legal point if you want. But you can't have a record of an investigating agency whose conviction rate anyway is very poor. 95% of its cases are against opposition leaders.
Zaka, I'll come to that, but in the public interest, I want to just carry forward Shehzad's point. There is no way that the government can transfer a sitting High Court judge. It's done through the collegium. And also, I do not know how very casually we are predicting what will be the court orders. That is something which I think everybody on the panel should desist from. And AAP has in 2 instances done it very, very clearly. That's just a legal point. Politics can take a part. The second aspect, that ED is filing cases against one political party. Of course, that's why I started in my first comment saying that the pressure is on ED. If the orders keep coming, or if orders come in a sense in which the judges castigate the investigation, which they have the full power to do, after 2-3 such orders, ED's credibility will suffer a lot. But as things stand right now, in most of the cases, the courts are not giving bail, exception being Mr. Sanjay Raut's case. and the courts are not giving bails. The court are upholding the ED investigation. The court are keeping people in jail. That is why at this stage that argument does not resonate. But of course, the pressure is on ED. If they get bails and if these orders come, then ED will have a lot to answer.
So, Krishank, want to respond that other than in Sanjay Raut's case, all other cases where opposition leaders, as you say, are being targeted, etc., the courts are not finding merit to give bail. Satyendra Jain has been in jail for 9 months. Mr. Vijay Nair has been in jail for 6 months. All other opposition leaders, it seems like court is finding merit to keep them in custody.
Well, till now, our leader hasn't gone till the custody or till the court. And we will definitely face the investigation. But Zaka, I didn't get my answer. One BJP leader's name across the nation was arrested.
Yeah, let him answer.
One name.
He'll answer now. Yeah.
I wanted to actually answer that. I'm not running away. Zaka didn't.
No, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Answer. I'll give you many names, but here's the Times of India report. PVS Sharma, raided by the BJP, BJP MLA, raided by the BJP's agencies, as you call it. ED also raided. No problem. And Himanta Biswa Sarma, after he joined,
did he go to jail?
Questioned by the CBI. One second, now let me answer, Krishan.
Himanta ji go to jail?
I did not interrupt you.
I'm not asking about
in the fairness of a debate. Let me make my point.
Let
me make my point.
I was very clear.
No, but one second, Shehzad, I don't know who PVS Sharma is. You're saying that he's a BJP MLA.
That is not my fault.
Fair enough. But he's giving he's giving you 10 names, very well-known names, from Shuvendu Adhikari to Himanta Biswa, who changed parties, joined your party, and investigation went slow on them.
I promise I will articulate in 30 seconds and then you can give the remaining time. They made a couple of points. They made that
No, he's saying he was arrested. So arrested means he must have gone to police custody.
Let me articulate very quickly. Look, ED before 2014 had 0 ille convictions. Today it has 23. The CBI's conviction rate, by the way, is a healthy 70%. Don't say it's a low conviction rate. So please get your facts right. Secondly, you said 95% of the cases are against opposition leaders. Sir, between 2004 to 14, when the CBI ED was apparently a cage parrot under the UPA, all the cases were against SP, BSP, TMC, DMK, these parties only. And today also is the same parties. Because your charitra, whether in power or out of power, is to do corruption. That is what exactly we are saying. But let me give you a last point. I only ask you one question, that in the last 8.5 years, have you been able to prove in one case that the ED or CBI is functioning like a cage parrot? If you have all the material that you are being hounded, and that too without any basis and selectively, surely the courts of law which you have a faith in would have given you some sort of relief and should have castigated the agencies. But that hasn't happened, sir.
Okay, Krishank and then Mahima Singh, yeah.
That would be possible if there would have been cases where ED could convince or get a conviction of a larger number, 5,422 cases, and you get conviction of only 22 cases. So how can you even
convictions
say that,
matter on court, sir? ED's job is to file a charge sheet. Ishkaran will tell you that courts are the ones that convict. ED doesn't convict people. Please understand the concepts of law.
One second.
Zaka, I am a law graduate.
Conviction from court.
ED has to establish the case. ED, the investigation agency's duty is to establish.
Which we are doing.
The conviction. No.
Conviction depends on court.
You don't have evidences. That is why, your ED has tweeted on why Sujana Chaudhary was
No, you made that point, but
6,000 crores.
But go on. The larger point he's making is, even when UPA was in power, and fair enough, the record is whatever, X number of cases, 95% opposition, 5% BJP. But even when the UPA was in power, all of the parties that were getting raided, ED cases were SP, BSP, DMK, etc., TMC, etc.
See, the only point is, Zaka, there is a tenure. Now we have Telangana elections here. So they just want to use this time to create propaganda. I'll give you one small
What election is there in Delhi?
Mayawati.
What election is there in Delhi?
Of course. When did you start this? When Manish Sisodia was going active there to Gujarat, when he was inactive.
Then you would have arrested him in Gujarat elections. No, you are contradicting yourself, Krishank. You are not being a good spokesperson tonight. You've contradicted yourself with this whole election.
Now
you have arrested him in Gujarat election.
Come to the point. Yeah, come to the point.
Let me come to the answer. See, I'll give you one instance of Mayawati ji. During demonetization, what did they do? They seized 750 crores of Mayawati's party. Later on, when they gave an explanation, when they got a clean sheet, they got their money back. What happened? The money was seized and Uttar Pradesh election finished and Mayawati ji did not have a single penny. But later on, she got a clean sheet and those 750 crores got back because their party's money.
Okay.
Same thing now, Zaka. They want to throw mud when there are elections in Telangana, but we will definitely cooperate with the investigation because we know that this case
fair enough. I don't think the election in a big state like Telangana is going to be decided on one issue, even if let's say, the ED were to find merit to arrest K Kavitha. I don't think that's the one issue that's going to decide the
election.
But
did you hear this casual statement that Mayawati wins elections because of money?
No,
so 750 crores was apparently taken from her, so she lost the election. I mean, this is an insult of a great leader. We may not agree with her, but she's been insulted by the PRS.
I'll give the final word to Mahima Singh. Mahima Singh, I keep coming back to this. Again, if opposition unity is the need of the hour to defeat the BJP, including your leaders, Mr. Kharge, Mr. Ramesh, have all been saying this, then why are you not showing up at Kavitha's protest tomorrow? Why are you not supporting the Aam Aadmi Party in what it claims is witch hunt against Sisodia and Satyendra Jain?
Unity is a two-way process. In fact, it's a multi-way process, Zaka. And I would say that the agencies, central agencies in this country have been misfunctioning so grossly over the years. We are reminded of Alok Verma's forced leave that was imposed on him by the government. And the case was before the SC just before 2019 elections. I'm also reminded of Ashok Lavasa at this moment when I'm talking about misfunctioning of agencies in this country. And so these are not solitary cases. And so the 95% of the cases, 118 out of 124 total cases on opposition leaders, I think are numbers that speak for themselves. And so we need to ask the question that what are the actions being taken on ABG shipyard scam? On the Adani scam, we don't even have, an initiation yet. On
No, the Supreme Court has initiated an inquiry. There's a committee that's looking into it, and the court has said you should get back to us, I think, in 6 weeks with the details of that probe in a sealed cover. We'll see.
Can I have
how the 10 seconds. I want to wrap up. Yeah, 10 seconds.
Lalu Prasad's case started during a Congress regime. He got convicted in the Congress regime, and when he was convicted, they still play the vendetta and victimhood card for Lalu Prasad Yadav.
I got to wrap up. Thank you very much to all our guests. We'll see how this story plays out. Like I said, tomorrow, Mrs. Sisodia will have to be presented in an ED court, and then on Saturday, Kavitha will have to present herself before ED investigators. But let's now move on to the other big story that we're focusing here on BrassTacks. School textbooks in Pakistan are painting a negative picture about India. They're filling up young, impressionable minds with hate. We got hold of history textbooks that are being taught in classes 8 and 9 in Pakistan, and this is what they teach. They're full of content which is anti-India and anti-Hindu. Mahatma Gandhi and the International Congress are portrayed in a negative manner. There are repeated references to Muslims of India, and never do these books mention that we were one country that fought for independence. Pakistan did not exist before 1947. Even their participation in the fight against the British is repeatedly labelled as Muslim nationalism. In every other chapter that talks about the birth of Pakistan, there is emphasis on the Muslims of India always wanting to be a separate Muslim nation, even though tens of thousands, millions of Indian Muslims stayed back in India and did not go to Pakistan. There are recurring references in textbooks of how Muslims are not being able to trust Hindus in the fight for independence. The textbooks also stress on how Muslims were seemingly oppressed at the hands of the Hindu majority. Even in post-partition problems in Pakistan, whether it is feeding the refugees, mass violence, all of that has been blamed entirely on the Indian government. But the most stark reference in these history textbooks in Pakistan is to Mahatma Gandhi, who of course the world acknowledges was the man who led India's fight for freedom against British rule. Mahatma Gandhi has been reduced as a leader of just Hindus. The textbooks go on to accuse him of disregard for Muslims. The textbooks say, and I quote, Gandhi and his young supporters took charge of the Congress and the approach of Hindus as a majority and disregarded Muslim rights, creating hatred, jealousy, and narrow-mindedness. There is a chapter on the formation of the Indian National Congress which says many Indians join hands to demand for India's nationalism purely Hindu in religion. The Indian National Congress therefore became a more Hindu political party than a voice of all of India. Now, it's not just that. These textbooks also pit Hindi against Urdu by referring to the 1867 controversy over the debate on which language should be chosen as a national language. Pakistani textbooks claim that Hindus wanted Hindi as the official language and that Hindi was pitched as an official language instead of Urdu. And riots broke out over Hindi versus Urdu as the official language. And these textbooks don't stop there. They blame India for the partition, never saying anything about the role of Muhammad Ali Jinnah. The books say that Pakistan territory was divided into two parts and it was Pakistan that was separated by hostile Indian land. The mass violence during the partition has been blamed entirely on the Indian government. The books also claim that partition led to the massacre of Muslims and Sikhs and that Muslims were forced to leave their homes and migrate. The books go on to talk about the problems faced by the newly formed state of Pakistan and largely blame India for this. They also refer to the Khilafat movement of 1919. It says that Muslims learned that they couldn't trust Hindus as a result of the Khilafat movement and that they needed to create unity among themselves. The book also claims that the Khilafat movement was introduced for Muslims and was meant as a concept of nationhood for Muslims of India. So let me now bring in our guests who are joining us on this. Shehzad Poonawala is BJP national spokesperson. Omar Altaf is a senior Pakistan journalist. Omar Altaf, let me start with you because, for me, the most startling thing has been the reference to Mahatma Gandhi as a leader of only the Hindus and the Indian National Congress as a party of only the Hindus. I don't think any leader in the history of the subcontinent fought for independence or for Hindu-Muslim unity as much as Gandhi did.
Absolutely, you're right in highlighting the greatness of Gandhi, the founder of India. I think no attempts. I think Gandhi's role is universally accepted. But in Modi's India, it's not accepted. In Modi's India, his killers are glorified, as you must be aware how RSS thinks.
But Mr. Altaf, I'm asking you about Pakistani textbooks.
No, I think any textbook that criticizes or paints Gandhi in a negative way, it should be condemned.
So why are Pakistani kids being taught that? Why are Pakistani kids in classes 8, 9 in Pakistani schools being taught that Gandhi was just a leader of the Hindus?
I think that curriculum is not right for young minds, and it should be rectified. That's my opinion. But how do you have the audacity to point out Pakistan's flaws? We don't accept Gandhi as a founding father.
Nobody said that you should accept Gandhi as the founding father of Pakistan. Everybody knows Mr. Jinnah was the founding father of Pakistan.
You accept and yet demonize him and glorify his killers.
No, that's a separate matter. I'll ask Shehzad that. I'm asking you a simple question. Do you think Gandhi was a communal leader? Do you think that Gandhi did nothing for Hindu-Muslim unity? Do you think that Gandhi was a leader only of the Hindus?
I don't think that Gandhi was a leader of only Hindus. He played a role for Hindu-Muslim unity. But then some of the things, I think he wasn't assertive enough, or maybe the hardliners ruled the roost at that time. So his camaraderie with Jinnah at one point was well known. But why don't you also do you condemn the killers of Gandhi being glorified in Modi's
India? Okay, let me ask Shehzad Poonawala that. The contention by Mr. Altaf is that the killers of Gandhi are being feted by your party.
I'll get to that in just 30 seconds. But first, let me tell you that, the question that you're asking Omar Altaf is to basically deny his existence. If they believe genuinely that Mahatma Gandhi was the symbol of Hindu-Muslim unity, it obliterates Pakistan's existence. Because the very fact that Jinnah wanted Pakistan is because he felt that Muslims' interests wouldn't be secured by a country like India. So his entire existence is predicated on the fact that Mahatma Gandhi...
One second, let him finish. Please,
Omar,
one second.
Omar, it's called tolerance. It's called tolerance. I know you neither have theological or constitutional basis for it, but that's how debates in India work. So you want to try and practice a little bit of tolerance, theologically and constitutionally difficult for you, but try to learn it from an Indian Muslim. It helps. Now please pipe down and wait your turn. That's how we do it in India. So let me explain to you what is problem of Pakistan. Pakistan's problem is that it is the only country in the world that lives in a schizophrenic bipolar hatred of another country. Its existence is built on hating India and Hindus exclusively. It is not a country. Countries have armies. This army has a country and it's predicated on Atank, Allah and America. Allah and America are long gone. They only have Atank left, and this is indoctrination of Atank, which is taking place in the schools of Pakistan, in the madrasas of Pakistan, that you hate somebody as a kafir, you hate even Gandhi as a kafir, you project him as a communal leader, and you spew hatred. Now you come to me. You are saying that we praise and glorify the killers of Gandhi. No, sir. Let me explain to you something. By the way, your favorite party, the Congress party, has inducted the killer of Gandhi, Godse's supporter, Mr. Babulal Chaurasia, but that's another point. I'm not going to dish an opposition party in front of a Pakistani like you. You have no lecture. You know who kills Gandhi every day? The idea of Jinnah that Muslims and Hindus can't live together. And by the way, the idea of Gandhi has survived and the idea of Jinnah has collapsed. Please listen to me. An Indian Muslim stands here and represents
what
the
do I
biggest,
have to
most
do with your
democratic
religion?
party in the
What do
world.
I have to
Please
do
do
with
not,
your religion?
Zaka, I think
Omar,
I
once
deserve
again,
to
Omar,
have
once
a
again.
say
Let him
out.
finish. I'll
A
come back to you.
Pakistani
I'll give you,
lecturing me on
I'll
my
give you
country.
ample time to rebut what he's saying, but let him finish his point. Yeah,
First
thank
of
you.
all, even when it comes to an opposition party in India, I don't need a Pakistani like you lecturing me, because I, as an Indian Muslim, represent the world's largest democracy on this platform. And by the way, please let me educate you on a couple of things. When we think of India or people of Indian origin, you think of the CEOs of the biggest companies in the world, Adobe, Microsoft, even the latest company, Pepsi or World Bank. But when we think of CEOs from Pakistan, they are the CEOs of terror companies. That's the difference between the idea of Gandhi and the idea of Jinnah. Idea of Jinnah was against the idea of Gandhi. So the day you reject the idea of Jinnah, that's when you will understand the idea of Gandhi. Don't lecture me about who is praising or not living up to the idea of Gandhi.
Omar, can I ask you a simple question? There are two contentious things. One second, hear me out. Give me 30 seconds. There are two contentious things that are also taught in these history textbooks in class 8 and class 9. Number one, it says that the Indian National Congress was a communal party, a party only of the Hindus. The Indian National Congress, as I remember historically, was founded by a gentleman named A.O. Hume. He was not a Hindu. One of the first presidents of the Congress party was a gentleman named Dadabhai Nauroji. He was a Parsi. Annie Besant was a president of the Congress party. But anyway, be that as it may, that's one part. The second part, the contention that the history textbook makes, is that a large number of Muslims fled India and went into Pakistan because a large number of Indian Muslims wanted a separate country. Fact of the matter is, when partition happened, more Indian Muslims chose to stay back in India than go to Pakistan and form a separate country. That's just a fact. That's just a historical fact. So what is being taught in the Pakistani textbooks is then a historical wrong.
And I agree with you, all of your assertions, I fully agree. And only in the last 9 years, the Muslims of India may have come to regret staying back. Because India has been a secular country for 64 years of its existence. But that is something which has changed under Modi. It's a different country. It's a toxic country for Muslims. The way they are being lynched by mobs, it's very well documented. Aren't you aware of those things? I am not an apologist. If bigotry is taught in Pakistani textbooks, I will condemn it. I have no compulsions. I don't defend a particular political party, or I don't want to bring my religion and project myself as if I am an Indian Muslim and saying that bringing his religion. You are a fifth columnist. You are an apologist for what Modi has done to the Muslims of your country. You should be ashamed of yourself. And the way the India is being run today, I think every reasonable citizen, irrespective of their religion, should condemn what's happening in today's India. India used to be a secular country.
One second. Omar, all of these stories, all of these stories that you're referring to are all being reported in Indian press, right? There's no bar, there's no stop on any of these stories being reported. And it's because the Indian press is reporting on these stories that the world is coming to know of it. Okay, so let's be clear about that. But Shehzad, I think the point he's trying to make. Yes. One second, let him respond.
I am in no mood
He's saying that for 65 years India was secular, Indian Muslims were treated as equal citizens. In the last 9 years, they are not. One second, Omar. You've made your point. Let him respond. Yeah. Shehzad.
I know tolerance and democracy are incompatible with anything Pakistani, but you need to hear the other side. Now, you made some allegations. By the way, Omar, let me educate you that the only place where Muslims are getting hounded, including Shias, Aga Khanis, Ahmadiyas, is Pakistan. The 72 firqas of Islam are available in India, not in Pakistan. By the way, Bangladesh was separated because despite being Muslim population, you could not tolerate that they had a different language. So stop lecturing me about Muslims in India and their condition. Unlike you, minorities here have thrived. They've not gone from 23% to 2%. And by the way, since you become the bandwagon of Muslim cause and champion of Muslim cause, what are you saying about the Chinese persecution of Muslims? They can't keep the name Omar or Muhammad. They burn the Quran. They destroy mosques. And your country, because it has a begging bowl in front of China, can't open its mouth, and you hail Osama bin Laden as a Shaheed. That's the last I want to hear from you, and you lecturing my country about secularism. Please call Osama bin Laden a terrorist first and regret that the fact that he was living in your country like a guest of honor, then we can speak on secularism.
I'm going to wrap up. I'm completely out of time. I want to, in the meanwhile, thank Shehzad Poonawalla and Omar Altaf. I'll say this as a closing comment. I don't think it's fair that young kids who are studying in class 8 and 9 are taught that Gandhi was not somebody who fought for communal amity between Hindus and Muslims, or that he was just a leader of the Hindus. I think that's just not just injustice to Gandhi and his own legacy. I think that more than anything else is just injustice to kids who are 10 and 12 years old. All right, I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back right on the other side, a fascinating story this. A Muslim couple from Kerala have taken a unique step. They have remarried after being married for 29 years. This was a civil marriage under the Special Marriage Act to ensure that their daughters have a secure future. We'll tell you about the story of Advocate Shukur and Dr. Sheena right on the other side.